Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. My name is Jason Arden. For my capstone project here, I have Shannon Corr. She is a graphic design major here at Marywood Senior, if I'm right, and she is a member of the volleyball team. So just take us back and explain how you started volleyball, what got you into it, and why you continued doing it through college.
Yeah. I've always played sports growing up. I was always into one thing or another. And then once middle school came around, being 5'9" in seventh grade, I was definitely kind of like recruited by the volleyball coach. And he kind of got me started. And from there, like he taught me all the fundamentals, and it was something that I really enjoyed, especially, again, playing so many sports. Volleyball was one that really stuck. And then that same middle school coach also got me my first coaching job and kind of always just believed in me to push forward. And that's what really made me continue it through college and whatnot. So
Yeah, you mentioned other sports you played, so can you tell us about those sports as well?
yeah. So growing up, I played soccer, played t-ball. I raced BMX bikes with my brother through I think fifth grade. We did that mostly through our elementary school. And then once middle school came around, I played a season of basketball. I was really into lacrosse. And then once I got to high school, I narrowed it down to volleyball and lacrosse. And then, I couldn't really afford those injuries from one or the other, so I stuck with volleyball.
So does that mean, is volleyball your favorite sport, or would you say that any other sport you've played you've enjoyed more?
Yeah.
Is volleyball it?
I think volleyball is definitely my favorite. I like the fact that we're inside, so I don't have to deal with the cold of soccer or all of the running that I have to do in lacrosse. But definitely soccer and lacrosse were close behind on that one.
Fair enough. Okay. Do you have any favorite moments you can recall from your volleyball career?
I think my most favorite moment, I don't know if it's just because my most recent one, but my senior night this past year has been truly amazing. Just seeing everybody that has supported me through, again, the last 12 years of my career come together in one room and be there for that. I think that was truly amazing. So
It is a very emotional experience, yeah, because I was an athlete in high school, and it's like everything coming together in that moment. And you see your teammates and your family and everything. It's very emotional.
yeah.
I guess we'll double back a little bit. What sport would you say was the most difficult that you played?
Ooh, I think most difficult was probably soccer. I don't know if it was just like having different controls with my feet. I'm not used to something like that. Obviously we go through life doing everything with our hands. We walk places, sure, but we're not juggling a ball as we do that. So I think that was probably the most difficult for me to kind of get into.
Okay. And if you were to take it out to every sport that exists, not that you play it specifically, would you say there's a sport that's more difficult than soccer? Like, as a whole, watching, what sport do you think is the most difficult?
Honestly, I think that track and field or gymnastics would probably be most difficult because you're using more of your muscles. You have to be more in tune with them, and they have to be very specific in those movements. And one wrong thing, you can hurt yourself, and I think that it takes a lot more mentality in the sport than others do. So
I guess that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so you're talking about how you're using different types of muscles, different types of sports. Would you say there's a sport that's very similar to volleyball, whether you've played it or not? What's the most similar sport in your eyes?
in my eyes, I think volleyball can be comparative to basketball. Again, kind of going back to the muscle groups, you're using the same muscles that you're using to run, to jump. It's very explosive. I think both sports are very explosive. You're not going for a long period of time, but it's a lot of quick, short intervals. And a lot of the movements are the same. And I think when it comes down to mentality, I think that both sports are very team-oriented. It's not just one player on the court. You have 5 or 6, and you're working together to complete this goal. Like, you need one another. Again, unlike kind of track or gymnastics, it's more mental because you're your biggest opponent in a sense. But when it comes to team sports, like, you're a part of a bigger picture. It's not just about you.
Right, okay. So what would you say is the most different sport from volleyball?
I guess if I had to pick one, I would probably say... I wanted to say baseball, but that's also pretty similar if I think about it. Again,
how is it
explosive.
similar? Think about it, yeah.
Yeah, so with baseball and softball, again, they're similar to volleyball in the sense of, like, you have these short, explosive periods. You have these small, tedious things. Like with volleyball, like, your platform is off an inch. Like, your thumbs don't come completely together. If you're not completely angled to target, like, the ball's getting shanked, you lose a point. Like, there's no recovering that point specifically. So in relationship to like softball and baseball, again, you have to be completely precise, completely on it. And if you're not, that can cost you some plays there. And also in the sense of short and explosiveness as you're, again, running through bases, kind of working together as a team. There's more than one person on the field at all times. So But I think to compare, or I guess contrast volleyball to another sport, yeah, that's a tough question.
Interesting. So would you say then that there's a lot more similarities between sports than there are differences between every sport?
I think so. I think the biggest comparison between all the sports is, again, your mentality of like wanting to do the best that you can in order to achieve something great ultimately. I mean, we're all using our muscles in different ways, yeah, but we're all using our muscles. We're all mentally, like, we have to be in it to a certain extent in order to achieve the greatness that we want to achieve. So
Yeah, okay. Well, that's interesting. I was hoping there'd be a most different, but I think that helps prove my point that when you look at sports on the outside, there's a lot more. There's a lot more that's similar than there is that's different. Even if it's a different fundamental part of the game, like baseball, you run around the bases hitting the ball. Volleyball, you're around the court hitting the ball. Like, it looks different on the outside, but generally, it's all kind of the same. And that's the theme of my presentation here. So I'm happy that we kind of came to that conclusion. I was going to ask you if you agreed with the sentiment. So
yeah.
Do you have anything more to say about the similarities, I would say, between?
As far as the similarity goes, I mean, we're all kind of doing the same thing in a different font, but I think that there's definitely skill that is displayed among each sport that definitely different, that are definitely different. Like I can play volleyball to like save my life, but basketball, don't ask me to play basketball, Again, even though we're using the same muscle groups and we're using the same like fundamentals, it's very different,
Mm-hmm.
So as much as there's similarities between all the sports, I think that it comes down more to mentality than it does to anything else.
Interesting. Okay. I think that's all I have for today. We kind of went over everything. I didn't ask all the same questions, but you answered all of them and what you're saying. So, yeah, thank you for coming on today. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I don't know how to do an outro. So thank you for watching, I guess.
Thanks, Jason.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for being here.